Hearings panel report to the council on the water supply, wastewater and stormwater bylaw review. Phil, you've been waiting for your big moment.
Do you want the unabridged version, or do you want the whole 9 yards?
Abridged.
No, that's right. Hello. It actually gives me great pleasure to present this report, which I know you will have all read from top to bottom.
Yep.
The panel consisted of Pauline, Celeste and myself, and I'd really like to thank all the staff who put up with a lot of things from me, but the effort and guidance that they gave us was very good. So just getting down to it, the review of the council's water supply, wastewater and stormwater bylaw was initiated in response to new regulatory requirements the council must comply with in relation to drinking water, safety, stormwater discharges to the environment. The proposed replacement laws will help the council to meet these new regulatory requirements and will also have a positive environmental benefits. The introduction of this industrial stormwater discharge licence is the single biggest change to the status quo. This is a new system to manage the stormwater discharges from industrial premises and will provide greater control and monitoring of what's entering our stormwater network. Three Waters reform will likely lead to changes for service delivery, but this does not change the council's need to proceed. We have matters that need to be addressed now, and having an up-to-date fit-for-purpose bylaws will put the council in good regulatory position for the Three Waters reform. The Three Waters Infrastructure and Environment Committee considered a review on the 10th of November 2021, and it approved two separate draft bylaws for consultation. One was for water supply and wastewater, the other was for stormwater and land drainage. Feedback from stakeholders in the wider community was sought from November to February this year. We got 27 submissions, 8 were from individuals, 7 from business, 5 from community boards, 4 from community environmental groups, as well as Environment Canterbury, Canterbury District Health Board and MKT. They had a wide range of views, and overall, most of the key proposed changes were fairly well supported by the majority of submitters. And feedback also included some useful suggestions to changes to consider, which was good. We heard and considered all submissions and deliberated on possible changes to the bylaws as a result of those submissions. Most of the changes recommended by the panel are for the purpose of clarifying or improving the bylaw, and have recommended off the back of the feedback received. There are no substantial changes to the recommended final form of the water supply and wastewater bylaw, but the key changes to the stormwater and land drainage bylaw recommended by the panel as a result of the consultation include the industrial stormwater discharge licence, an extension to the time frame to apply for the licence to give businesses more time to comply. They will now have until February next year or July next year to apply for their licence, depending on the type of their business activity. Erosion sediment control plans. The panel heard that the bylaw needed more clarity around ESCPs, erosion sediment control plans. Based on this, we're recommending that the requirement for ESCPs under the bylaw is altered to clarify that it is limited to situations where there is a risk of stormwater contamination. This is also bearing in mind that the majority of environment sediment control plans will be required under resource consent and building consent conditions rather than the bylaw. So they're already captured in most cases. Stock fencing and waterway setbacks. Based on the feedback from federated farmers, the panel recommends that fencing for stock exclusion purposes in rural areas is specifically excluded from the waterway setback requirements. Unmanaged spring water, we also recommended that the clause regarding unmanaged spring water is amended in response to submissions on the cultural importance of protecting Waipuna, so that it more clearly focuses on preventing nuisance and damage while considering solutions that reflect the health of our waterways and Te Mana o Te Wai. Other key matters that we considered, it's to protect, one of the things is to protect council's access to public infrastructure on private land. We're not encouraging people to unduly restrict landowners by the use of their land, and it allows for flexibility, with the crux being that landowners talk to us about certain activities such as building or placing structures over pipes and easements. So it doesn't, and to ensure it does not present an access issue if urgent maintenance is required. One of the good things that we felt happens, it enables the council to enforce repairs to damaged private wastewater and stormwater laterals where they are known and significant unresolved issues. At the moment, we can't do that. We know we've got some problems here and there, but this will clarify this and let us get into it. And has the appropriate framework in place. That means businesses applying, this is a good one, for the industrial stormwater discharge licence will have a risk classification assessed on a case-by-case basis, taking into consideration individual circumstances such as management practices. This reflects that not all businesses of the same type present the same level of stormwater risk, and addresses concerns raised by some submitters that risk categories would have applied in a blanket manner, and we didn't want that. Getting down there now, the focus on public education. Throughout the bylaw, the panel noted the importance of increased public education on the responsibilities of the public under these bylaws. This was particularly the case for industrial stormwater discharge licence, on how to help the business owners, how they can comply. Responsibility for maintenance of private drains that feed into public networks, and things that should not be flushed down toilets or washed down drains. So if the council accepts the panel's recommendations, it adopts the bylaws as proposed, they would come into effect on the 1st of July this year. Thank you.
Is that the abridged version?
Abridged version.
Thank you very much. Well, I did ask for the abridged version, but that was the abridged version. Yeah. So thank you very much. That was a very detailed report and extremely helpful. And thank you very much for chairing the committee. Would you like? Yeah. Would you like to move the? Thank you. Who would like to second that? Tim. Right. Are there any questions? Melanie.
With the building setback being made wider, or further away, or whatever the term is, to 3 metres, it doesn't affect anything that's already located close to a waterway? I don't know if there is, but does anyone know?
Is this an existing use right, did you say?
Well, it says in there that people won't be able to build 3 metres away from a waterway. I don't know if anything currently is 3 metres away from a waterway, but if there is, what is the
Within
consequence?
3 metres, yeah.
So there is provision that they apply to the council to get approval. So we don't envisage it affecting what's already there, but and it's not a prohibition as such. So there is a bit of leeway there. It's more in the form of a restriction. So if people have a good reason, and particularly if they've got temporary things they want to put there, then they can. I think that was.
I think after the earthquakes, we ended up finding out about things that had been built alongside our rivers that we didn't know about. And so it is actually useful to have a bylaw that's very explicit about the setback. Oh, no. Did I?
Thank you. Thanks for prompting. I guess I was just wondering if 3 metres is
Sorry.
enough. And I mean, I don't know if
No, we can't do that.
people been around Kenaway farm site, like the building is so close to the river, site of ecological significance. People are really concerned. I just wondered how you came up with the 3 metres, and if there were any submissions raising concern over that.
Do you want to? So the 3 metres was really just based on protection purposes, and it aligns with some of the protections that are in other legislative tools as well. Mm-hmm. So there's the Land Drainage Act and the Christchurch District Drainage Act. So those give us some enforcement powers that align with the 3 metres. So it was kind of bringing all of that into a line, as well as what really is best practice for protection for waterways.
Thank you, and I'd like to apologise. So is there, I'll open it up for debate. I don't think Phil wants to say any more. Anything further? That's great. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you. Thank you to the staff, and thank you, Phil, for chairing the committee and other members of the panel, the hearings panel. It's not easy to find hearings panel members from time to time, so it's great that you were able to do that. So, thank you. And we move on to
Armagh Street.
the 210 Armagh Street proposed lease over